What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legion's Necronominus wave review. Taking a look at one of the children of Necronominus. This time, we're taking a look at the Belulith set, and I say set because it's not just her. She is a really interesting release because of all these creatures and critters that she comes with in skeletal form. So we've got Belulith, we've got a bird, we've got a snake, we've got this chimera looking thing, all sorts of crazy stuff here. Now, she is a deluxe style figure as a result of that. She's essentially a 2-pack or maybe a 1.5 pack, depending on how you're going to describe it. But we've got her in the double wide packaging, figure in the window with all her stuff. You've got a bio on one spine, you've got a faction logo on the other, and then the back of the box gives us that spread of the Dark Four with some cross-sell as well as our write-up. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Mythic Legion's Belulith figure. Another one of the children of Necronominus, and in some ways, probably at least, and from what my perspective anyway, a bit of a sleeper in this wave, because after I got this one out of the package, everything kind of changed, especially once we get to all the extra stuff this figure comes with, because she really is like a 1.5 pack. You know, she's not just what you see here. She does come with a pretty insane amount of pets and buddies, and I've said it a million times in other reviews, figures that come with little buddies and animal dudes are always my favorite, and she comes just with a whole hell of a lot. So let's see what she can do, see how she moves around. She is probably one of the lesser figures and least impressive when it comes to articulation, because she is overwhelmingly, if not almost entirely, just old parts as far as her base construction. She is a standard female 2.0 figure, so there's really no surprises here unless you've never messed with one of these. Now, as far as her head goes, she's of course on a ball peg, so she has some up and down. She has a little bit of tilt, and you do have swivel. As you can see, she's got a whole mess of hair up here. It is going to get in the way. There's really just no way around that. Arms go out at the shoulder. Now this one, she does have asymmetrical pauldrons, or pauldron rather, so this one only really goes out about that far, so you do have some restriction there. You've got single jointed swiveling elbows. These are older style limbs. You got gauntlet swivel, we got wrist swivel and hinge there. The torsos on the 2.0 figures are cut in the middle with a diaphragm cut. So you've got some forward and backward. You've got your tilt side to side. It's okay. And that's also a swivel point. She does have a more standard waist twist type of setup down there as well. It's just a peg, straight peg that goes up into the torso. Legs go out about yay far. They do kick forward all the way, they kick backward. She's got a whole mess of stuff around her waist. It really doesn't get in the way too much though. You do have a thigh twist up there. We've got single jointed knees with rotation still. These are of course older style knees, so they don't have as much range as some of the other figures we've seen in this wave. And then down at the ankle, it's business as usual. You've got swivel at the top. You've got really good rocker on these feet, and then you've got hinge down there as well. So again, there's really nothing too surprising on her, except for the fact that, you know, her hair might pop off, which we'll talk about later. She is standard 2.0 stuff, but she still moves pretty well. But again, she's probably not as exciting in the articulation department as compared to all these other figures that do feature overwhelmingly a lot of new range and mobility. Now, that said, you probably know where I'm going to go with this. The main interest for this figure is 100% not going to be articulation for, I'd say, overwhelmingly everyone. It's going to be the accessories and the look. And mostly for her, it's kind of this cobbled together look. She is fairly unique in terms of her construction and her build and her parts usage here. There's overwhelmingly stuff we're very familiar with. We've seen this torso before. We've seen these arms before. We've seen some of this skirt, soft good style stuff before. We've seen these legs before. It's a very cobbled together kind of feel though, so she does stand out even though it's a lot of stuff we've seen before. And, you know, I say this a lot when it comes to Legions. I do really like to see what the powers that be will say come up with when it comes to making things out of parts they've already used a bunch. So like this is a nice mix of parts that, you know, I probably wouldn't have put together ever, but it does work. I think a lot of that does come down to some of the colors. Her armor is a very, very muted color. It's not shiny, it's dingy, it's gross. She's got this sort of forest green, soft goods skirt piece down here. And of course, as usual, you know, you could take that off if you're not into soft goods, and it is wired, so you've got that going for it. But then she's got this super, super blue skin, which I think looks great. And, you know, as usual, it pops against my background, so I'm always happy with that. But the blue skin really does kind of change her up a little bit, especially because again, she's one of the children of Necronominus, but she's not like the others. We don't know what Barodak is in All-Star 6, and the others are skeletons. She is a zombie, or a ghoul, or whatever you want to call her. So she does stand out in that regard as well. What I really like about her is some of the stuff that's on her, though. So she's got this sort of like, you know, this beast tamer thing going for her, and we'll talk more about that. But it's very much evident on her armor and her, you know, her parts here. So she's got like a whip. She's got all these small skulls that hang off of her. She's got a little like hand here. But then what I really like about her is this singular pauldron. You know, we don't get two of these. She is going to have an asymmetrical build, but you've got this, I don't know, is this like a unicorn or something? What is this creature that's hanging off of her shoulder? Like a pony unicorn or something? It's got a horn sticking out of its head. Kind of looks like a horse skull to me. But that's really cool. And it's not a regular pauldron either. It just slips over her shoulder. So it does not actually peg into the back. It's just sitting there, and it sits really well. You could put it on both sides, but it has a buckle on this, so it'll look sort of odd if you put it on the other side, but you won't see it anyway. So maybe that doesn't matter. But I really think she looks great. And this is one of those, again, that I just didn't really appreciate as much as I do right now until I got her out of the package. And she's also topped off with a really good head sculpt. There is just so much color and vibrance in this, you know, rotted flesh head that she has. Really great, you know, powder blue, this very ethereal look to it. And then you've got, you know, this hair, which is really well done. Tons of hair going everywhere. A lot of different strands and pieces, you know, big bunches of hair going all around her. It does, again, kind of get in the way of articulation. That's always going to be a thing for figures with a lot of hair. But I think she looks really good. And, of course, one of the things that's going on with this figure is that the hair is removable. So you can take it off and you can swap it with a slightly different version, and then she also does come with another head. So you could have, you know, mix and match or whatever you want to do. It can be a little tricky to get it back on there and get it seated just right, but I think she looks really good. She does have a very unique look about her despite being overwhelmingly, you know, older parts, and the fact that she does sort of stand apart from a lot of the other figures in this wave just by virtue of being a female. But I think she's a really great addition to this wave specifically because of how she looks. Now, as far as accessories goes, Belulith has a lot. And like I said, she is very much more in line with like a 2-pack, but like a 1.5-pack because she doesn't have another figure. She has all these pets. She does have a few standard accessories, you know, normal stuff. The first thing is, of course, she does have a different head sculpt. And I think I was wrong when it comes to the hair. I don't think these are actually different. They look almost identical now that I'm really paying attention to them. So if they are different, it's minimal at best, so I guess they're the same. So you get extra hair, because the hairs are not attached, and nor would they normally, but they're not even glued in either. They're meant to be taken apart, and it's just a plug. So it's a keyed piece, so you can pop it in there. But you've got a more zombified, more ghoulish, more undead, whatever you want to call it, with the missing nose and everything. She still has kind of the same kind of expression. Overall, same look. It's just she's really missing that nose. And then she does have some extra hands as well. You get a left gloved hand with the gripping hand. You get a set of blue, so you get 2 of these, style posy, gesturing, clawing kind of hands. And then you get another gripping hand, this time for the right side. We do get a singular weapon, and we've seen this a bunch. Again, it goes back to a lot of reused parts that really came out of Advent of Decay. So you've got the sort of jagged tree branch sword thing, dagger, whatever we want to call it, with the knuckle duster on the top. I really like this weapon. It's very brutal and befits a bad guy, so that's kind of cool. And then we get into the buddies and the extra stuff. So we've got this guy to start with. We've got the skeletal bird, and I like this one because it, you know, kind of goes back to the fact we've already got this stuff in the line. We've got stuff like with Valak, for example, and other figures in the Alithia wave where they have pet birds that will sit over top of one of their wrists, and you can put this on her right arm and it will sit there perched up, hanging out with her. It does have a tiny bit of articulation. The head is on a ball joint. That's really about it. The wings are kind of gummy because they're just so small, so they move, but they aren't articulated. But this thing looks great. It's got a few feathers hanging off of it still, so it's clinging to those feathers as best as it can, but it is overwhelmingly a skeletal bird, maybe like a vulture or some kind of thing. That befits her, I believe, so that's kind of cool. I really like that. We get this crazy fellow right here. So you get a bird cage, but it's not a bird in there, it's a snake. And there's multiple parts to this. So we've got, well, I took the snake with me. So you've got the cage, we've got the base, we've got this sort of tree diorama thing here, and then you've got a snake that will sit on it like that. So you've got a skeletal snake that will sit in there, and then you can cage it up, and she can have this little buddy. It's obviously not articulated, it doesn't do anything, but it does hang on her back because she has this wild thing. So this is like a jawbone maybe or something, and it's one of very few things that is intended specifically to only go in that back adapter slot that, you know, most folks really don't use. So you've got this big bone that sticks out, and then you can hang your little buddy on her back, which is as cool as it is absurd, because it's really ridiculous to walk around with a snake skeleton hanging off your back, but it's kind of neat. I really like that idea. And then we've got, of course, the star of the show. So this is what really makes it kind of like a 1.5 pack to me, is that you've got this full Chimera skeletal beast, which is meant to be like a pet for her, but it does have some articulation. It's mostly just to help it stand and balance, I believe. So you've got, you know, in and out on the legs, and then they swivel. That's pretty much it. The tail also will swivel, and then the snake head will move a little bit. It doesn't have a lot of range, but it has some. The neck piece, the neck adapter here, will swivel in the chest, and then the heads are on ball pegs, so you can move those in and out, up and down. Then mouths on these do not move, though. They are not articulated jaws. What I really like about it is literally everything, because not only is this thing really cool on its own, it's gnarly looking, it's evil, it's scary, it's the whole 9 yards, it's everything that should go with a menacing skeletal zombie Beastmaster, but if you saw my Terpiculi video, you might have seen a picture where a Terpiculi had 2 heads. You can use this neck adapter on any regular figure. Like it'll just peg in like any other neck, and you can put regular heads on it. So all of the Terpiculi heads will work on it. Normal skeleton heads will work on it as well. So you can use this thing to make a multi-headed beast, or put different heads on this. You know, when we get the All-Star 6 head pack, for example, there'll be a lot of possibilities, and I suspect we're going to see a lot of people with different kinds of beasts on their shelf, just because we'll have access to other head sculpts to be able to make these things a little bit more unique. But I really like this. It's not super articulated. I really don't care about that. It's going to look cool just sort of standing alongside her, but you can have all of her pets with her at any given time. This is a figure that can utilize almost every single accessory all at once, which I'm a big fan of, just to not have to store stuff away. So you can put the bird on her, you can put the snake on her, you can have her beast with her, you can have her holding a weapon, and she can be fully kitted out with all of her friends. A lot of cool stuff, and I mean, again, this is just rad. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite skeletal things in the entire line right now. So yeah, overall, like I said, you know, she's kind of a sleeper figure for me, but that's a good thing. It's a figure to me that is infinitely cooler, maybe not infinitely, but a lot cooler in hand than what I originally expected, and it's maybe one that might fly under the radar for some folks. She is overwhelmingly old parts. She doesn't bring a lot of new to the parts library, but it's the combination of everything, the colors, the sculpt, the detail, some of those extra pieces like the belt or that pauldron, really cool additions, but then she comes with all those other things. So she's got the skeletal bird, she's got the snake in the cage that hangs on her back, which is just ridiculous. And then she's, of course, got the Chimera, which you can use that double neck on other skeletons, or you can put other skeleton heads on that thing. It's really cool on its own. I'd like to see more skeletal beasts at this point, but I'm really happy with what she comes with. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legion's Necronominus Wave Belulith. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.